What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to continue our god roll guides before Act 3 comes out with the Void Bow that is basically a legendary version of Le Monarque with the Anamnesis. Anamnesis? Tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right. That word is super big for my ADHD, but we got ourselves a banging bow in my personal opinion, especially inside of this episode with our artifacts. So we're going to cover our PvE, PvP god rolls for you guys as always. So starting us out, we got ourselves two origin traits with Willing Vessel and Runneth over, if you can get that already masterworked version of these with Runneth over. But I really like Willing Vessel actually on this bad boy because dealing damage or defeating targets with this weapon grants us increased stability, handling, reload, and charge rate. So basically with this bow, it'll charge up faster, or our draw time gets a little bit faster. So Willing Vessel, absolutely disgusting. Your other option is Runneth over. Like I said, reloading near allies overflows the magazine. Bows receive faster draw time, so this also does help us with that draw time, but I like Runneth over and Willing Vessel on this. I think Willing Vessel is definitely way more common, so don't worry about it if you are just getting a normal version of this with only Willing Vessel, but you do have the chance, like I said, to get the already masterworked ones inside of the Nether or doing the Court of Blades. They just come fully masterworked already, and you can get that second origin trait. As for our bow, with our bowstring, we got ourselves the polymer string. In my personal opinion, you are looking for accuracy and reduced draw time, at least in my personal opinion, probably for both PvP as well as PvE. In PvP, you might want handling a little bit extra, but I really like the polymer in this category for that extra accuracy, and the draw time is down to 500 with how we have this built out, so half a second. Next up, our arrow. I'm going with the helical fletching. This gives us accuracy and stability as +5. If you are looking for a little bit more accuracy, you could go with straight fletching, which gives us 10 accuracy, but I personally like having a little bit of both of those. It's kind of stacking our stats out into both of those categories. Our accuracy on this is about 50 with stability, handling, and reload almost pushing 70. Reload is closer to 60, but our stability and handling is pushing that 70. As for our third column right here, baby, we got ourselves a Dragonfly and Repulsor Brace. Both of these are very good in this category. Dragonfly definitely makes this feel like a legendary Monarch. Like I said, with those precision kills, we get elemental damage explosions, so a lot of void going on with this build, even without the artifact that we got on this season. Now, as for Repulsor Brace, we do got destabilizing in the fourth column, but even this episode, we're going to get volatility, weakening going on all over the place with our void weapons. So Repulsor Brace, by defeating those void debuff targets, grants us an overshield. Also not a bad option. I think totally depends on you. If you need a little bit more survivability, if you will, by getting that overshield, go with Repulsor Brace, but I think overall for me, I'm looking for Dragonfly in this third column. As for the fourth column, though, we do got three options in my personal opinion. With destabilizing rounds, we got demoralize as well as explosive head on this bad boy. So destabilizing, defeating targets creates a void burst. Hitting other targets with the burst makes them volatile and also grants us volatile rounds. So like I said, destabilizing, Repulsor Brace, you're able to get that overshield consistently, but if you throw on destabilizing rounds with that Dragonfly, absolutely crazy the void explosions that we are going to get. I personally have not been able to get that exact roll, but I am looking for it. I do have one with destabilizing, but still really want that Dragonfly to pair with it. Another really good option in my personal opinion is that demoralize. Precision final blows create weakening basically nearby those targets that you defeat, so it's not bad for having Repulsor Brace decrease as well, because that is a void debuff, and with that weakening you can do a little bit more damage on some enemies, so totally up to you. Now, in my personal opinion, destabilizing is a little bit better just because that is just personally for defeats, while demoralize is those precision final blows, but kind of the same thing. Dragonfly, you need precision final blows too, so you could also go with a Dragonfly demoralize, sorry. In my personal opinion, I would rather have Dragonfly with destabilizing rounds. Your last option is that explosive head, so arrows explode after a short delay, so not too shabby. It's about 30% increase in damage to PvE and staggers PvE combatants, so it is a pretty good perk if you have it as like a secondary option, but I do think Dragonfly, like I said, with the destabilizing is probably your 5 out of 5, then something with either that repulsor brace and demoralize, or destabilizing is like your 4.5 out of 5 kind of situation, and then explosive head would be my last choice, but it's still like a 4 out of 5 overall. So this thing has really good options. Like I said, for PvE, it's basically like a legendary Monarque, so I really do like it and enjoy it. I'm grinding for that role with Dragonfly paired with demoralize or destabilizing, in my personal opinion, but we shall see what we can get. And overall with this thingy, I would probably give it a good 4.6, maybe even a 4.7 out of 5, just because of the different perk combinations that we can get, and with its ability to clear ads like crazy, especially inside of this episode. So y'all definitely should grind this out for the PvE side of things. On to the PvP side of things, we got ourselves a natural string as our bowstring. Gives us basically the jack of all trades in this category: 5 accuracy, 5 stability, as well as 5 handling. Second column with our arrow, we got ourselves compact arrow shaft. Gives us 10 reload, 10 to handling. I like it more for the handling, but we do put that arrow inside of that lock and socket really quick. I know that's not the right term, but let me speak my own mind. I definitely think that this is your best arrow to have, or at least in my personal opinion on how I play with the bow in the Crucible. In the third column, I think we got 3 different options that most people would play with, and depending on your play style, what you would choose. We got Archer's Tempo, Successful Warm-Up, and To the Pain. So Archer's Tempo, draw time decreases after every precision hit, so you do gotta be pretty on with your bow. Doesn't always work for every single person, but it is a very good perk if you can get that draw time really down for that 3 seconds. You can absolutely pump out some damage, get that double headshot on a Guardian before they even can peek behind cover. Successful Warm-Up is our next option. Like I said, each final blow increases that draw time, so it's a decrease. I don't know why it says it like that inside of the definition, but it's gonna make it 37.5% faster for 6 seconds. So again, when we get a defeat this time, we're gonna be able to draw back that bow insanely quick, so a very good option. This does need you to get a defeat first compared to Archer's Tempo, which is just a precision shot. So again, totally up to you and how you play and what kind of game mode you're going into. Successful Warm-Up might be a little bit better for 6s, well, Archer's Tempo is probably better for 3s and like that competitive side. Last but certainly not least, we got ourselves To the Pain. So while the weapon is equipped, taking damage increases handling, aim assist until it is stowed. Taking more damage increases this effect. So for me, having that handling up, hot swapping between this and like a hand cannon, which most people do, or I should say it's a very viable way to play with a bow instead of using something like that Archer's Tempo for some quick shots before enemies can get behind cover. You can use To the Pain, kind of does the same thing, but instead of doing 2 bow shots, you do a bow shot, switch on out to your hand cannon, whatever it may be, and get that last little bit of health that they have left. So again, totally up to you and your play style for these 3. Hear me out. just like the cakes and the trendets people do, we got ourselves a couple good options in this third, fourth column. I mean, we got ourselves Adagio, whatever you say it, with this words and stuff like that. We got Explosive Head, as well as possibly Impulse Amplifier. So Adagio right here, after defeating a target, we gain that weapon fire charge is slower, but we're going to deal more damage. So 20% more damage with this weapon, but it's going to shoot a little bit slower. We can kind of counteract that with successful warm-up or Archer's Tempo. That's literally the only reason that I threw Adagio on this list, is if you have that successful warm-up or Archer's Tempo. Impulse Amplifier massively increases our projectile velocity as well as our reload speed, so we're getting that arrow knocked a little bit faster and able to rip it out on those guardians just like Legolas does in the Lord of the Rings. So a good option, but again, totally up to you and your play style and what you're looking for in a bow. Last but not least, personally, this is what I would go with, which with probably that Archer's Tempo, is the Explosive Head, because we're going to get a nice damage increase on those guardians, especially if they're standing together, and it's nice you can kind of hit a couple guardians behind shields, behind cover, stuff like that. So very good options again in this column. Not as good as the PvE version of this bow, in my personal opinion. We definitely got some better bows out there with some pretty good perks that you can throw on them for the PvP realm, but overall would probably give this thing like a 4.1 out of 5. Feels really good with that origin traits that we can have on to increase the draw time, or to make the draw time faster, I should say, as well as the combo that we have in our third column. So up to you guys again and your playstyle for both PvE, PvP, but very good bow. Definitely suggest grinding it out in the Nether or with that Court of Blades. You can use your Tomb of Want to focus for it, so you can get some really good rolls pretty quickly, in my personal opinion. So really appreciate you guys for always coming back to the channel. Means a lot to me, means a lot to the channel. Don't be afraid to like, subscribe, slap that bell if you haven't. Join up on the Discord. We got ourselves a good old popping community in there, trying to get it a little bit more popping, if you will, so we can get the good old Discord rocking and bopping for anime nights, watching movies, that sort of thing, helping you guys out through dungeons, raids, GMs, etc. So let me know, but I appreciate you guys as always. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.